Hey everybody, this is Meyer, and in this video what we're going to be doing is using the Icarus drum sequencer to actually create this percussion loop. So what I've done here is I'll show you how to load in these samples and do this. This is going to be the loop that we create. And in context. Cool. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to go ahead and clone this initial patch, and this is going to be what we're working with. Now, because we're doing a percussion sample, and let me go ahead and rename this, call this percussion, give it a nice, maybe a hi-hat symbol, and actually the color I'm going to give it is kind of this orangey color. What I want to do here is use the drum sequencer to basically create a drum pattern. So we're going to turn the EQ off. In fact, we can just bypass it completely and turn the oscillator off, and we're only going to be using the drum sequencer here. Now, when I turn it on, it's going to ask if I want to load a drum pattern. I don't want to do this, so I'm going to click no. And what we're going to do is start loading in some of the drum samples we want. So I'm going to go here and click load wave. And I have this trance drum samples, collection of these samples. First thing I'm going to do is load in a clap. And the way this drum sequencer works is whenever you play a note, it'll play those wherever you start. So the clap I'm going to have on the 2 and the 4. We can, of course, adjust a lot of these different things, whether we want it to be in a single mode. Loop mode means it'll just play the loop. Key means it will actually follow the key that you're playing. So there are a lot of different modes, which is kind of cool. For now, because we're just using individual samples, we're going to do it this way. So we have that. The next sample I'm going to load is going to be an open hi-hat. Got to have that. And we're going to have this on the off beats like this. And I want this hi-hat a little bit louder, so I'm going to go ahead and increase the volume. Sounding pretty good. And let's go ahead and load in a closed hi-hat. So I have this CH, or this closed hi-hat here. We're going to go ahead and put this in. Now, when I start penciling this in, you're going to notice that we're going to need to adjust the velocities. So I'm just going to do all the 16th notes. One of the cool things you can do, you can actually give it a shuffle, like a swing or a shuffle. So I may give it a little bit. And what we can do under here is adjust sort of the velocity. So I want to kind of emulate this being almost sidechained. So what I'm going to do here is sort of have these first two kind of come in like this. And I like kind of having to pencil it in because it forces me to kind of be a little bit more organic with the loop. It's not just going to be, like a computerized thing. There's going to be a little variation. But to get it to really, adjust the velocity, we need to turn this velocity to the volume mapping up. And from here, we can turn this down a little bit. Honestly, that's sounding really good. The last thing I want to do is map this to the effects. So when I move the mod wheel, I kind of filter the loop down. So this, I want it to be open all the way. And this will allow us to be able to filter this loop in and out throughout the track. So to do this, we need to actually map all of these effects to the effects. Now, the way it works here in Icarus is we can map the send to effects 3. Now, adjusting this will adjust how much of this drum sequencer goes to the master, which when it's off, it's completely directly out. 100% means it goes all the way through effects 3, which is what we're going to want. And then we need to enable the effects on these individual channels. Now, the cool thing about this is you don't have to enable it on all of them, which means you may want reverb to your closed hat and open hat, but not on your clap or something like that. So you can just disable the effects here, which is pretty cool that you don't have to do this. So this is effects drum. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to choose under the equalizer, the high cut. This will allow us to do do something like that. Once again, it's because we've mapped it and we've created the send and sent them all that we can actually do this. So going over here to the mod matrix, what I want to do is map the mod wheel. So I'm going to go under MIDI, mod wheel, map this to FX, FX3 parameter 1. Now what this means is I can start with this closed as much as I want it, like this. And that's as high as I want it. Once again, we set the lowest value here, and then this is going to modulate it in the positive direction as high as I need it to go. Like that, that's good. Cool, and that's pretty much how we can do this. So now what I'm going to do is just simply map this to the mixer. So I'm going to click on it and click Command L, which will give it a free mixer track, create a new pattern. We're just going to call this percussion and give it a nice little color. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to click here and put in a note that extends over a bar. So we're just going to click it. The note itself doesn't matter because none of this is tuned, but let's just go ahead and extend it like this. So now that we have this percussion, I can move this up maybe closer to the kick, and we can now hear the way this sounds. Maybe turn that open hi-hat. Yeah, that's sounding pretty good. And what we can do here is tweak the mod wheel, tools, last tweaked, create the automation clip up here. This is going to be now for the percussion itself, which is cool because if I go ahead and put this, drag this down here and add it, what we can then do with this is we can actually kind of filter it out if we want to emulate what would happen during the intro or the breakdown. So this is kind of what you could have, like something like this. Sounding pretty good.